What is up, YouTube? Tommy Stiles here at the Black Rifle Coffee Shop, where you have seen several videos before. It is Tuesday, November 19th. It's a nice fall evening in Arizona. The hot temperatures have finally left, so a lot more outdoor filming. I really enjoy getting outdoors, so I did an IG Q&A. I do those fairly regularly. This time I decided to do some of the answers as a YouTube video, and you'll also find the answers over on Instagram as Reels. So a little bit different. Sometimes, most of the time I just keep them in the stories, but wanted to try something new. This gives me the ability to answer the questions with a little more in-depth, not be limited by the 60 seconds that Instagram gives you. So before I get going, like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. I'm going to be coming out with content the rest of this year and all through 2025. We have a lot of things in the works. I will be competing in 2025. I get that question probably once a week, so there is a plan. Everything is laid out. You're on a need-to-know basis, and right now, that's all you need to know. So the first question was, what are 2 things that you learned this year? And I like this question because it made me think. The first thing I learned about myself and my vision is that I am someone that has to keep the goalpost moving. When I moved to Arizona, I was kind of in survival mode. I was chasing my dream and believing in myself, but also I had very little money to my name and I didn't really have anything going for me. I just had a vision and a dream and work ethic. So the first 4 years I was here, obviously the pandemic threw a wrench in that as well. I was just really in survival mode, mainly to pay my bills and make it, but also didn't want to admit to myself or anybody else that I failed and couldn't hack it and have to tuck my tail and move back to Michigan or give up on it altogether and go back into the fire service or get a job working for somebody else. So, after 4 years, I got out of that mentality. I got out of that position. I was able to, I can pay all my bills without thinking twice about it. If I want something, I buy it. I've really put myself in a position to where I'm not in a fight or flight mentality in terms of my stance in life. So that actually brought on a bit of a challenge in terms of life, because I didn't have a vision for beyond where I got to. I believed I could achieve the things I set out to do, but I actually didn't believe I would. It was more of I could do that. I didn't know if I would. So now I have a whole new mindset of making sure I keep the goalposts moving. I have goals as far away as 2030. I have goals for 2025. And that's what kind of sets me on fire and really brings out my passion and my creative brain, is having big goals and then setting the short-term goals day to day to achieve those. The second thing is that you have to really water a belief in yourself that you can achieve big things. And this is not something that I learned exclusively this year, but it really became more apparent. Without self-belief and without really putting in effort to work on self-belief, you're not going to get anywhere in life. You have to develop an unwavering belief in yourself that you can achieve the big things that you say you're going to achieve or you say you'd like to achieve, or they're just dreams. They're not going to come true if you're not willing to put in the work, whether it be through breath work, journaling, whiteboards, visualization, tactics, any of these things. You've seen all the YouTube videos that other people talk about. It's not hocus pocus. It's not magic, but sometimes you have to be delusional enough to create belief in yourself, which in turn brings the outcomes and the results that you want. Moving on, next question would be, this is a bodybuilding specific question, a comparison of estrogen control with Masteron, Primo, or EQ. So this is going to be individual. You're probably going to need to figure out which compounds control your estrogen the most and which do the least, and then how much estrogen control you really need. So using myself as an example, I'm not someone who aromatizes a lot. I do not need a ton of estrogen control. So all three of those affect me. I'm pretty sensitive to them. In order to grow and put on muscle, I have to keep my estrogen higher. So for me, I don't use any of the three. If I did use one, and I have earlier this year, part of my blast, I would use EQ. Not so high that it's causing me issues with my hematocrit and my blood pressure, but just enough to kind of give me that control of the estrogen, just enough to mitigate any sides that are going to come. But truthfully, it's probably going to require several rounds of blood work to figure out how you're affected, and also paying attention. You only want to control estrogen to keep side effects mitigated. You don't want to necessarily control it to the point where you're smashing yourself down into a range just to see on blood work that the estrogen's in range. Next question. Considerations to keep in mind for first-time GH users. This is a good question. Biggest thing is going to be your budget. Don't go broke to run GH. Rule number one. Make sure you have your life in order. Also, whether you're going to go the farm grade route or the generic route is your choice. Make sure whatever you're taking is real and legitimate. This may mean you're going to have to pay some money up front to get testing done to determine the purity. The money you spend on that will be worth it to have the peace of mind that what you're taking is real. Things to look out for in terms of side effects, I guess, would be watch your blood pressure, which you should be doing anyway before starting GH. Watch your insulin sensitivity. So we're going to use blood glucose. We're going to track that weekly. I don't think it's something you need to do every day. Just keep an eye on it a couple times a week and watch for trends. To me, the hemoglobin A1C on your blood work, as well as a fasted insulin reading, is going to be more valuable to what your insulin sensitivity is doing, but you can still track the blood glucose. And outside of that, just don't have crazy expectations that adding GH is going to be this game changer and you're going to blow up and look like an IFBB pro. It doesn't work like that. It's an amazing addition with relatively low risk profile in terms of all the other things that we do as enhanced bodybuilders, but it's certainly not going to work magic, and it's not going to take the place of consistency and time. Next question. My favorite supplements for cholesterol. So this has, I guess, evolved over the years. Since 2021, I've been working with Leviathan Nutrition, and their products are top of the line, purity, efficacy, and they're made for bodybuilders. So the two products I use are IRE. That's your full comprehensive. I think everybody, bodybuilder or not, enhanced or not, should be taking that product. It's got a load of ingredients in it, notably citrus bergamot, which is something that I have always taken large doses of since 2017. And then also Leviathan's product, Advanced Omega-3. Numerous literature backing the effects of omega-3 on cholesterol, also as well as brain health, mood. I mean, there's tons of benefits to omega-3s in terms of inflammation too. So those are my top two products for cholesterol, and as of this year, my cholesterol is the lowest it's ever been in my life, and that's 9 years of using PEDs. So I'm pretty happy with the results of the products. I know they work. I've got the blood work to match it because I get it 3 to 4 times a year. So if you want to pick up those products, you can find them at leviathannutrition.com. Code STILES10 will save you some money. Next question. Post-contest, do you do TRT or do you blast PEDs for the growth? I have done both. Typically, I will blast PEDs, but the term blast is going to be up to perception. It's probably not as high as people think. It matches where I'm at in terms of my level of musculature as well as my use. There's a couple considerations, whether, where are you at in your life? Are you out of money and your job's on the line and all your personal relationships are destroyed after prep? probably a good idea just to go to TRT and focus on those things. Also blood work. Are you somebody who killed it during prep and your blood work probably took a hit? I'm very fortunate to have very good genetics in terms of how I respond to PEDs. I don't have any real negative blood work effects from it. Nothing that I'm not controlling with supplementation. So, you know, blasting for me post-show isn't necessarily going to make things worse for me. Other people, I can't say the same for. I've seen guys who need to come off and probably spend a little bit more time off based off, you know, maybe their history of use or how their particular blood work looks. So there's no right or wrong. Again, I've done both. Typically, I tend to push a rebound with gear, and then I'll come off and spend, you know, a few months cruising at a dose that is specific to me, and then really then kick up a real off season after that. During a cut, I'm only losing strength in the RDL and main squat movement. What should I do? So those movements are compound movements that require a lot of accessory muscles to be in play. I don't know where you're at in your cut, how low your body fat is, but I would assume that stability is becoming an issue, and maybe general fatigue is starting to build up. I don't know where your training volume's at. I don't know where your calories are at. I don't know what your cardio is. So this is a very general answer, but you know, at a certain point in my contest prep, I start to opt for more machines that are going to take out the stabilization component. You know, you won't see me dumbbell pressing in prep. At a certain point, I pull out some of the barbell movements. Hinge work for me, I'd rather do a weighted hyper on a machine than actual barbell at a certain point of the prep, because the benefit that I'm going to get from the weighted hyper is greater than the benefit I'll get from the, you know, like an RDL or a stiff leg or even a conventional deadlift. So it potentially could be time to swap out your movements and just make better choices that allow you to still train to failure, also to progress those movements or maintain your strength, and then, you know, not have such a buildup of fatigue.